Okay.
How do I do carry this one?
No. We'll pretend like we don't know each other.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So happy to meet you. I'm Cara.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. So as I mentioned, my name is Cara, and I'm going to be your nutrition counselor today. You can call me Cara. How would you like for me to address you?
Okay, my name is Mical.
Okay, great. And Mical works for you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, terrific. All right, great. So Mical, today I'm going to ask you a series of questions about your eating patterns. Have you ever met with a nutrition counselor before?
No, I haven't.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, welcome. Thanks so much for coming. I know it's early, too.
Mm-hmm.
So as a peer educator, I can provide nutrition education on only 3 topics. And so I'm going to tell you about those 3, and you can let me know if any of those are of interest to you. So the first is eating on a budget. The second is reading a nutrition label. And the third is eating a balanced diet. Do any of those sound interesting to you?
Yes, eating on a budget.
Eating on a budget. Okay, terrific. And then the other kind of piece of housekeeping that I just want to take care of is we do need you to sign an interview agreement just to let you know that it's all confidential, and the only person who will know about this information is me, and then of course Dr. George. So if you wouldn't mind just signing your name right there, that would be terrific. And then also just to let you know, if at any point during this interview you're uncomfortable in any way, you can just let me know and we can stop the interview. And then my peer is going to be observing us, and obviously Dr. George will review the tape as well. Do you have any questions about that? Okay, great. So I just need your verbal consent to begin. Are you ready to start?
Yeah.
Okay, terrific. I'm just going to stick this in here. Okay. All right, great. So first I'm going to start by asking you some questions about yourself so we can get a better idea of some of the challenges or support that you might already exist in your routine relating to your eating patterns. So why don't we start with, what year are you at San Francisco State?
I'm a senior.
All right, terrific. And do you live on campus or off campus?
Off campus.
Off campus. All right, terrific. In terms of your commute, do you drive or do you take public transportation?
I take Muni.
Muni, okay, terrific. And would you say it takes you less than 30 minutes or more than 30 minutes to get to school?
More.
More than 30 minutes, okay. All right, terrific.
Like 45 minutes.
45 minutes, okay, terrific. That's a long commute. None of this. All right, great. So now we're going to kind of tailor the questions more to be food focused. And I'll start by asking you, how often do you think you buy meals and snacks out? So meaning on campus, restaurants, fast food, basically anything outside of your home.
I would say sometimes.
Oh, and sorry, I just want to clarify too, this is during the weekday, so Monday
Okay.
through Friday.
Okay, I would say sometimes.
Sometimes, okay, terrific. And then same question, but we're going to say it on the weekend. So how often do you buy meals out on a typical weekend? So weekend meaning Saturday through Sunday.
I would say often.
Often, okay, great. And then kind of including all days of the week, how often do you buy snacks out? So you could be, again, on campus, out and about.
Not often.
Not-
Probably rarely.
Rarely, okay, great. Okay, so I'm just going to take a quick second and just tally these up real quick, so just give me one moment here. So we have one sometimes, one often, and one rarely. Okay, terrific. All right, great. So now we're going to jump into our 24-hour diet recall. So we're going to be talking about all the foods and beverages, snacks, and nibbles that you had yesterday. So the time frame that we're going to be talking about is starting from when you woke up yesterday. So today is Wednesday, yesterday was Tuesday. So the time you woke up yesterday till the time you went to sleep last night. And what we're going to do is follow a 3-pass system. So first I'm going to ask you to share a quick list of what you ate and the time that you ate it. Then we'll add in some details, and then finally we'll review it and just kind of make sure we didn't miss anything. When you are providing the details, I want you to use common objects. We have a bunch of stuff that we can utilize for that. And that'll help you kind of be more precise with your memory because it's hard to remember everything. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
All right, great. So why don't we start with our diet recall. So, okay, so yesterday was Tuesday, as we mentioned. What was the first item that you had to eat or drink yesterday morning? And do you remember what time it was?
I would say it was at like 6 o'clock or 6:15.
6:15 a.m.? Okay.
Yeah.
And were you at home?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what was that you ate or drank?
I had a Japanese sweet potato.
Japanese sweet potato. Very precise. I like that.
Yeah. So it was like one of those meal prep things I had.
Oh, okay.
And I had it with like leftovers. So I had with bell peppers and chicken. What do you think?
Okay. Anything else in the mix there?
There was onions
Mhm.
and I think that was about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And anything to drink with that?
I would say water,
Water. Okay.
but not much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was at 6:15. What do you think was the next thing you ate?
Okay, it might be a little bit later because, yeah, my
That's
time
okay.
frame is kind of weird.
That's okay. We'll go back through and we can kind of work on the details.
Yeah. The next meal I had, oh wait, so then I also had a smoothie. Okay, so
At the same time?
a little bit later,
A little
probably
bit later.
like 6:45.
Okay. And but that was at home too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And tell me about your smoothie.
I had banana and some berries, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like raspberries
Mm-hmm.
and water. So I think that's where I got my fluids in.
Okay. All right, great. And then, so 6:45, and then what was next?
The next meal I had was a lot later, which
Okay.
is different for me.
Okay.
It was, I think, around 12
Okay.
or 11:45.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was that at school?
No, I was at Whole Foods
Okay.
and I got sushi.
All right, great. And what were do you remember the ingredients in your sushi?
It had rice, avocados, salmon, and tuna.
And was it brown rice or white rice?
It was white rice.
All right, and anything to drink for lunch?
Well, I had a matcha latte afterward,
Okay.
and that had tapioca. So, yeah, it's like boba.
And, okay, so we had the sushi at Whole Foods at 12. Anything else that you bought or ate at Whole Foods?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, terrific. So moving on from 12 o'clock, what do you think was the next thing you ate?
So I think that was a little bit later. That was like, the matcha latte was probably like half an hour later.
Okay,
or
12:30-ish?
An hour, I don't know.
Okay.
And then the next meal was probably at like 6 p.m.
Okay.
And,
And where was that?
or actually it was later.
Okay, that's
It was
okay.
probably like 7.
7.
I had it at home.
Okay.
I had injera, which is very sure like flatbread.
Okay.
So
I-N.
J-E-R-A.
Okay.
And I had that with kale and with I had it with the same thing earlier, the chicken with bell peppers and onions. And I also had it with some potatoes and
Sweet potatoes again?
no, it's
Just
different.
regular?
Yeah,
Okay.
with like potato, zucchini, like mix with like onions and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Sounds delicious.
My mom made that and I was like, ooh. common.
Okay, so we have the flatbread and the kale, and then the chicken, bell peppers, onions, potatoes, and zucchini. Feel like we need to add anything else?
And then I went for seconds.
Okay. Times 2. And what about any liquids, beverages?
Throughout the day I drink water, I just don't know
Mhm.
when.
Okay, so you probably had some water with dinner, we can assume?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, anything past 7 o'clock?
Just water.
Just water, okay, so no dessert past 7, no nibbles before bed, studying.
I just can't remember.
Okay, so we'll go back through and that might jog your memory again too. Okay, terrific, so why don't we now what we're gonna do is kind of go back through and talk more about kind of the cooking method, the brands, if you can remember them, and also the sizing. So I'm gonna pull out our handy dandy measuring stuff, and just to help you jog your memory. We have a lot of options to choose from, but don't let that intimidate you. So why don't we kind of go meal by meal and kind of snack by snack, and then we can work out the amounts. So we started with the morning time. You had at home at 6:15, you had the Japanese sweet potato, bell peppers, chicken, onion, and then some water. So why don't we start with the sweet potato? If you were to pick out a sizing here, we can either use kind of these common objects, so we can have these items here. Oh, Pocket Pocket, that's fun. If you were picking out sweet, and was it like a whole or was it chopped up?
It was like a whole boiled.
Okay. Do any of those look like anything that represents the sizing?
I would say about 1.5.
1.5 cups? Okay, sweet potato. And is that just the sweet potato, or is that the chicken and the bell peppers and onions?
I would say that's just the sweet potato.
Just the sweet potato, okay. So 1.5 actual cups.
Mm-hmm.
And then what about, how much chicken do you think was in there?
I would say it's about this amount.
Baseball. Okay, so chicken is baseball amount, okay. And then what about, should we mix in the bell peppers and onions together as a group? Or-
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you feel about those?
I think it was about the same as this.
Okay, so the bell peppers and onions around that size.
Mhm.
Okay, terrific. And if you were guessing, how much water do you think you had? Is it like a cup like this?
Probably.
Okay, and so I think this is 8 ounces, great. All right, terrific. All right, so next it sounds like you made a smoothie at home, is that
Mhm.
right? And you made it yourself, or?
Yeah.
Okay. And tell me about the banana. Was it kind of a regular sized banana? Let's see if we have one. I might have that in here. I feel like I remember seeing one before.
Let me go here. I would say it was
There's a lot of
very
pasta.
so.
It was just a regular size?
Yeah.
Okay. Where I saw banana before. Okay. You know what, we also, I think she also had a ruler at some point, but that's okay. Oh, here it is. Okay, maybe we can use that.
Sure.
So, if you were a banana, so that's
Mhm.
6 inches, 7, 8. What do you think might have been the banana size?
Probably 8.
8 inches, okay. Okay, and then in terms of raspberries,
I'd say it was like a handful. So
handful
I'm
of
not sure
raspberries,
that would work.
more like a tennis ball maybe, a little bit smaller. It might be more helpful. Oh, there's some raspberries in here. Look at that.
That's cute.
So let's see. If you were to hold that in your hand, maybe how many raspberries do you think? Maybe we can put in a cup.
Yeah. I would say half cup.
Half cup, okay. Half cup raspberries. And then you, maybe about this amount of water, or how much water do you usually add to your smoothies?
Yeah, I would say like the water that I said earlier,
Mhm.
that was more like, I guess kind of in total, I would have like, just like a little sip of water and then I would have that for a smoothie.
Okay,
So probably in total I have like 8 ounces.
okay,
I already have.
okay, all right, got it. And so what you put in the smoothie was just those 3 things, banana, raspberry, water,
Mm-hmm.
nothing else, okay. Okay, so then between home at 6:45 and noon at Whole Foods, that you don't feel like you remember having snacks or drinks?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I was hungry.
Your tummy was telling you were hungry. Okay, so then at Whole Foods, we had some sushi. You had a white rice sushi with avocado, salmon, and tuna.
Uh-huh.
So let's figure out how we could measure your sushi roll. I'm guessing there's not sushi in here, but there might be something similar that we can. How about, why don't we start with, was it like a roll or were there like pieces? Like if you were to line it up, do you think it would have gone like?
It was like many rolls.
Many rolls, okay.
Probably like 12 rolls, maybe.
So 12 little
Yeah.
small rolls that were maybe like, I know which ones you're talking about, those little small guys.
Yeah.
I wonder if they were like the size of this. Like 1 cube of cheese, like would you say that looks like similar to, or maybe those are too big? Maybe this one?
I think they were like the size.
That
yeah.
size, okay. So 12 of cheese cubes. And then, so inside each one was a piece of avocado, right? So would you say maybe the avocado was like a dice in the middle?
Probably this size.
Oh, big avocado, okay.
Yeah, a lot of avocado.
Okay.
Surprised.
And so I'm assuming that would be 12 of those, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, was there salmon and tuna in the middle, on top?
It was in the middle. It was less than the avocado, so if this was, what do you think? That would make sense. I would just say it's like a little smaller than this.
Combined.
Yeah.
So like half avocado, or half salmon, half tuna.
Mhm.
Okay. Great. And then, so you said, so I just want to make sure I have this right. So you had the matcha latte and the tapioca. Did you have them together?
Yeah.
Kind of a little bit later. Okay. And was that at, where was that at?
That was at Boba Guys.
Okay. So the matcha latte, let's see if we can find, is it like one of those like 12-ounce ones?
I think it was 16 ounce.
16 ounce, okay.
Yeah.
And do you happen to know what was in it? So obviously latte milk.
It had almond milk.
Almond milk,
And yeah, it has matcha powder.
okay.
And then I asked for no sweetness, but the tapioca is sweetened. So it's like in a sugar syrup.
And sorry, I am completely naive to these type of drinks. Is
Yeah.
the tapioca in it?
Yeah.
It's actually in it. So like those are the little balls. Okay. So the matcha latte, and then you have the tapioca kind of like swirled in.
Yeah.
Okay. And the tapioca part is sweetened.
Yeah.
And if you were kind of guessing how much tapioca was put in your matcha, what would you say is kind of something that looks like? We have some little cups over here too. That might be helpful.
Let's see. Like it's probably double the size of the drink, and then
The amount of tapioca.
probably
is
like a quarter of it. I don't know how to.
So this is 8 ounces. So like maybe if we were to break it up in half, that would be 4.
Yeah, I would say maybe 4 ounces.
4 ounces. Okay.
Yeah.
So 4 ounces of the tapioca. Okay. Okay, great. So that was at Boa Guys, and then that was at 12:30, and then you went from 12:30 to 7 with not eating and drinking.
That's the thing. I don't really remember things
Okay.
very clearly.
Yeah. Where were you in between Boba Guys and home?
I was at home.
Okay.
So
Maybe studying, maybe relaxing.
yeah, a lot of studying. So
And where do you usually study? That helps me jog my memory.
I was in like one of the bedrooms.
Bedrooms.
Um,
And do you ever bring like snacks in, or is that not a common ritual for you?
I don't know. It was
That's
just like
okay.
a weird day for me because
Okay.
I definitely eat a lot more.
Okay.
This is not like a
So this
typical
isn't
day.
unusual. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's skip to dinner, and then if you think of something, well, we can always back it up.
Mhm.
Okay. So now we're at home still, and dinner time. You have the injera, which is the
Mhm.
flatbread. And how big of a piece or multiple pieces do you think you would? That's a good example.
I would say like, so it's like usually like a plate size,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have like
So
one
we
whole
have
plate
this too.
size. I probably had like 2.5 plates.
2.5 plates. And when you say plate,
Yeah.
you mean the outer rib, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 2.5.
And that was because I have seconds too.
So this is about, okay, great. And then, is this, like, so the kale, the chicken, the bell peppers, onions, is it similar where it's all just mixed in together?
No, so
Is
it's
kale
like,
separate?
yeah, it's
Okay.
like meal prep. I like meal prep the kale, and then my mom made the potatoes
Separate.
and zucchini that day, and everything is separate.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. So if you were to ballpark the kale,
I went crazy with the kale. Probably like 2 of these,
2 baseballs, okay.
or even more. Maybe like 3.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And kale, and do you cook your kale or is it?
Mhm.
Mhm. So it probably even shrank down
Yeah.
even more.
Yeah.
Do you, I wonder, so of the cooked kale, you think it's probably about 2 baseballs? Or maybe 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's sauteed with onions and olive oil. My meals are kind of complicated.
It's okay, no, it's good. And when you saute it with the olive oil, how much olive oil do you think that you use?
Well, probably like this amount. Could be
Mhm.
pounded out.
All right, great, and so, we're gonna do, sorry for the silence, I'm just kind of reading through, make sure I have the
You're fine.
numbers all correct, I might have to go back into that. Okay, and then chicken, so I know it was kind of all mixed in, but if you were to separate, then maybe let's separate the veggies from the, protein, so how much chicken do you think was mixed in with your? And there's more stuff in here if that doesn't feel normal size.
I guess I would say like this size. But then I also, my mom made like beef stew as well, like grass-fed beef. So I had that as well. I think I told you that.
Okay.
So probably in total, like 1.5 of these.
With the beef stew added too?
Yeah.
Well, why don't we do that separate?
Okay,
Because that was
yeah.
like a separate item, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So if it was just the chicken,
Yeah.
it'd be more like smaller, like, because it's probably cut up, right? Or is it
Yeah.
like a, okay.
It's kind of like in a stew with the
Mhm.
bell peppers.
Mhm.
So
Do you feel like these might be more helpful, like since it was cut up? Or you kind of feel like the tennis ball is more of a? There's gotta be some protein in here, let's see.
Some everything
There's
protein.
lots of cheese.
I think that this is like
That
pretty
feels right,
accurate,
yeah, okay, okay.
So I'd say, yeah, let's say this amount.
And then the veggies, so we'll kind of say the bell peppers, onions, potatoes, and zucchini. What do you think the veggies would symbolize?
This amount.
Okay. So kind of a little bit more chicken based then, more chicken than veggies. Does that feel right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so, and then you had some water, and then you also had some beef stew.
Yeah.
And was the
Mhm,
beef
with the
stew,
jam.
kind of dipping it?
Mm-hmm.
And if the beef stew was in a little cup or bowl, how big do you think that would represent?
I would say,
It might be more like something like this or this.
yeah, I would
Or
say
cup.
it would be something like this, but it also has like onions and tomato.
Right.
So I wouldn't say it's like maybe even less than that, but altogether it would be this size.
Okay. So, and I know you didn't make it, but we think it has, obviously, you said grass-fed beef,
Yeah.
and then onions, tomato.
Yeah, and olive oil, and it also has a lot of spices.
Okay.
And everything I eat usually has a lot of spices, so I
Yes.
mention that.
That's okay. I don't know if we need to write all those down, but that's
Yeah.
good to know. Okay, so for the beef stew, if we were just doing like everything total together,
Mhm.
like something like this, you
Yeah.
said? Okay, so this is amount, okay. And that's mixing all the things in. if you were to just kind of guesstimate, and I know this is hard too, but kind of the ratio between the onions and tomato and the beef, like how much beef do you think was in there?
I would say
Half?
half, maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then half veggies?
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. And then nothing after that?
Not that I remember.
Okay. And so, you mentioned this earlier, but in terms of kind of typical day versus non-typical day, this felt a little non-typical to you. Is that
Yeah.
right? Okay. And the reason being is that you felt like you normally snack more?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, wonderful. All right, why don't I just take a quick moment to put this away so we can continue our chat. And I'm not distracted by all the library items. I think this is over here, but I could have been wrong. Okay, let me just.
This away.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with me. I know sometimes it's hard to remember everything that you ate yesterday, even though it was just yesterday. It's still tricky, huh? Okay, great. And what we're going to do now too is we're just going to go back through it one more time. So this is our third pass, and just make sure we have a good sense for everything. So 6:15 in the morning, you were at home and you had the Japanese sweet potato, bell peppers, chicken, onions with water. Then also at home at 6:45, you had a smoothie with banana, raspberries, and water. And then at noon, you were at Whole Foods and you had your sushi with white rice, avocado, salmon, and tuna. And do you have any wasabi or soy sauce with that? Okay. And then at 12:30, you were at Boba Guys and you had the matcha latte with tapioca with almond milk style, and the tapioca was sweetened. And then at 7 o'clock, you were back home for dinner, and you had some injera with kale, and then also chicken, bell peppers, onions, potatoes, zucchini, and some beef stew on the side with some water. And you mentioned that you drank kind of water throughout the day, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Great. All right. Great. And we talked about that. Okay, terrific. Well, again, thank you for sharing all that with me. So as a review in the beginning, the nutrition topic that you were interested in was the eating on a budget. Is that still something that you're interested in learning a little bit more about? Okay, great. So my mentor has reviewed the information, and I'm going to share with you some information related to the topic. But first, what I want for us to do is think a little bit about that topic in relation to the information that you shared with me, so about your eating patterns. And after we chat a little bit more about the education, I would love for us to work together to create a SMART goal for you at the level of change that you eventually will indicate. And just to tell you what SMART stands for, it stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. And studies show that the most successful lifestyle changes occur when you make the goal SMART and when you understand your level of motivation and readiness to meet that goal. So to get a better idea of how ready you are to make that change, what we're going to do is we're going to use a ruler, and it has a 0 to 10 scale. So 0 is you're not ready at all, and 10 is you're super ready to take on a change. If you were to take a peek at this and tell me where you feel like you'd be ready in terms of, again, the budget stuff, where do you feel like you would fall on that scale in terms of being ready to make a change?
I would say 6.
6.
Yeah.
Terrific. And how confident do you feel that you'd be able to make that change? Do you feel like that would be a 6 as well, or do you feel differently about the confidence level?
I would say 8 or 9.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I am going to say that you are probably somewhere around a 2 in terms of level 2 because you're kind of straddling the barrier between the two. So what we want to do now is kind of talk through kind of your diet, but also your readiness to move